I just want to talk about two quick things really fast today. I want to talk about scale, and I want to talk about resources. So, and this is not a pitch for, I work for the legal marketplace, Avo. No, I turned it off on purpose. I'm that tech competent, but I will turn it on in a moment, Jolie. Is that okay? All right. I am aware of it being black. I work for a company called Avo. We've raised over $100 million at venture capital. We're 10 years old. But the thing that I've learned, and I'm maybe less sort of bleeding heart and altruistic than I used to be, having worked for a capitalist organization for a long time, but I still do fundamentally believe in change, and I believe in sort of what the power of community. But one thing that I have learned from being at this organization, we now have a legal question and answer forum where consumers come and ask legal questions and lawyers answer those questions for free. And all of this is publicly, freely available information. I would argue I have no means by which to measure this, but I frequently say it's probably the largest collection of free legal advice that has ever existed. And it's an incredibly powerful tool. We have a directory of every single lawyer in the country, pretty much, with profiles so that people actually can begin to get some sense of the lawyer that they're going to hire. But we weren't able to create this without capital, and we weren't able to create this meaningful, powerful scale, or resources even, let's not even call it capital, this meaningful, powerful tool without scale. And I want to come back to that in a minute, but let me tell you a little bit about sort of my journey in the legal kind of innovation space. So when I started in this space, all I wanted was to get lawyers and developers together, and my vision was a legal startup weekend. This was before I'd even kind of come in contact with the legal hackers folks, and I was fortunate to be able to put an event like this on, and it was amazing. Again, I just wanted to get like lawyers together with developers, and as we heard today, and as the ABA is doing hackathons, right? Which is awesome, but like, have they jumped the shark? I'm not sure, but like, they're everywhere now. And legal hackathons are everywhere, and that's amazing, but I still don't feel like I've seen this kind of radical, earth-shattering change in the legal sector like at least I had hoped for. And then I thought, oh, well, maybe venture capital is the kind of answer. And so as I was saying, I joined a venture capital-backed legal technology startup. And as I said, we've had some major impact, but even at 10 years, I'm not sure that we've changed the legal sector, that we've changed minds, that we've revolutionized things the way that I had hoped or the way that I thought. And then I thought, well, maybe the power is in community, and I do still fundamentally believe that. So I'm heavily involved with this group, and I'm heavily involved with the group called Evolve Law, and I have volunteered deeply with the group called Law Without Walls. But I still don't feel like I'm seeing like this revolutionary change, this tremendous kind of shift, and maybe it's just that I'm impatient, but I really want to know, like, how do we kind of enact this change? How do we as a group be a part of this change that I think all of us can palpably feel and see? And at least one answer that I have is that we need resources. We need to have some kind of corpus of, and I don't even want to call it capital, but resources that enable us to scale and grow. Why do we need this? All right, well, and this is just one simple example, or maybe why is it important for us to start to figure this problem out? Well, so this is the market size of the fintech market and compared with the legal tech market. Now, the fintech market excludes lending, insurance, and payments. But as you can see, the market for legal services is roughly the same size. But you look at outside investment in these two sectors, and the funding in fintech. I got to make sure I'm reading this right. So this is the funding in fintech versus the funding in legal tech, and in the last 4 quarters, it's been even less. So like other people, and this is my point, other people are not going to jump in and help us find these resources. They're not going to help us find this capital. The other reason why I think it's our job to begin to figure this out, and I mean, Phil and Jonathan spoke to this, but Like at some point, it's time to move out of your parents' basement and like become a grown-up organization and figure out how you're going to be self-sustaining and how you're going to like grow this amazing, powerful community that we've built. So here are just a few ideas that I think could be models for us, and I hope that this serves as a jumping off point as much as anything, as some suggestions about how we might think about these problems and not the only problem or not the only solutions that exist. Have folks ever heard of O'Reilly Alpha Tech Ventures? So this is a small venture capital firm that's the kind of venture firm arm of Bill O'Reilly. No, not Bill O'Reilly. Tim O'Reilly, excuse me. It's been a long couple days. I wish Bill O'Reilly had a venture arm. Tim O'Reilly, who is a well-known sort of Silicon Valley guy, and one of the original sort of micro VC firms. They invest in seed stage rounds that sit somewhere between angel investments and traditional Series A rounds. The idea, though, is that internet companies are cheap to build, and the firm wants to invest just enough so that the company can get off the ground. But it also, and this is what I think is really interesting, it gives these companies the freedom to entertain acquisition offers without having to worry about returning a huge profit right away. I've heard one of their partners say, we want to give companies kind of room to breathe, to grow, that not all venture-backed companies are the same, and so we want to give these companies a chance to sort of get their legs under them. Again, I don't even know what this would look like, but I just want to introduce a few kind of ideas to you so that we can figure out, hopefully, if you agree with me that we need capital, how we might go about doing that, or we need resources, how we might go about doing that. I think another really compelling model is the X Prize model, where they aggregate a huge bunch of capital and then sort of point a whole bunch of resources at solving a problem, and that ultimately result in folks getting kind of a larger amount of capital. What I find really compelling about X Prize is this. One of the things that I've seen, or that I think is really a struggle, and I'm sure that many of you have solved this problem more effectively, but I know kind of in the hackathons and the events that we've thrown in Seattle, which is where I'm based, we always have trouble getting enough technical talent. We always have trouble getting enough designers. We always have trouble like getting technologists excited about this intersection of law and technology. And like, as much as I want to believe this isn't true, when you hold a big bag of money in front of someone and you say, hey, aim at that, you attract talent. And so, I think this provides a relatively interesting way for us to think about how we might resource or attract the right kind of talent that we want to help us solve our problems more effectively. And then one that I think many people are familiar with is microfinance, basically just sort of aggregating small amounts of capital and then making micro loans. I want to tell you a little bit about what we're doing specifically in Seattle, again, hopefully maybe as a bit of an inspiration for you. And I've told a few people about this already, so I apologize if this is a repeat for you, but we put on a continuing legal education program last year, really as a fundraiser. We charged $30 for 3 CLE credits, and we sold the thing out and kind of almost accidentally raised about $3,000. And we realized in doing so that there was probably like a decent sized market for this. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do this again in the next few months. We're probably going to create a B corporation to hold the money, because currently it's sitting in the side business that I have in this weird sort of tax limbo situation that, again, as a legal hacker, I'm relatively comfortable sort of playing between the lines. But at some point I need to figure this out. And our goal by 2020, this is what our group has committed to do. We're going to raise $10,000, and we're going to use that money, we're going to put it in the B Corp, and we're going to use that money to fund 5 legal tech or civic tech projects in the greater Puget Sound or greater Northwest area. It's not a lot of money, but it's something. I also hope that this money will serve as a kind of a bit of an operating fund for our organization. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but that's what we're setting out to do, and that's our goal. So what I think we really need to figure out is we have, I go back to where I began, right? We have, almost 10,000 members. Again, Jameson mentioned this the other day. Like, he and I tried to count it up as we were trying to do some marketing to get sponsors involved in the event. And we're pretty sure we're over 10,000. It's just that we actually can't count, right? We've got 60 plus chapters. We're on nearly every continent. We have scale. So again, going back to this analogy sort of Avo and the company that I have, we have scale. Now we just have to figure out this resources piece. We have to figure out how we can catalyze, how we can capitalize, how we can mobilize this amazing, amazing community and really make it even more awesome. So thanks a lot for your time, and I look forward to talking to you more about it.